Fox Sports.
We are La Force. We are St. Louis.
This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball on the banks of the Mississippi. It's a brief three-game homestand and a weekend set as the Cincinnati Reds are in St. Louis, and tonight it's game number one. And along with the Cardinals Hall of Famer Jim Edmonds, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Welcome to Cardinals baseball. And Jimmy, let's jump right into it. Brian Price fired by the Cincinnati Reds. Jim Riggleman brought in. They've been playing very good baseball.
Yeah, they've done a good job playing since the firing of their manager. And you got to change something, change it up. The players get the idea. Going to have to start playing a little bit better, or you start losing players one by one.
The key, a drive to success. The record since he took over, one game above the 500 mark, and we know this club can hit. It's a very, very good lineup. Meanwhile, the guy that's got to stop him, Carlos Martinez, his last three starts have been very good.
Very capable of stopping any team. You see those stats right there for the last three starts, and the control has been the key factor right now for him, and hopefully he can go out there and keep it that way.
The All-Star is behind the plate again tonight. Happy birthday to the 36-year-old. He's not slowing down. Putting together an outstanding 2018 season. It's the Reds and the Cardinals, Yachty in the lineup, and baseball is coming up. to you by Budweiser. Wherever legendary MLB moments happen, Budweiser will be there. By Chevrolet, the #1 selling brand in the St. Louis area. Find yours at your Mid-America Chevy dealer. And by Sling, live TV you love, only better. A weekend series kicks off tonight here at Busch Stadium. The Cincinnati Reds are in town. Yachty, happy birthday. Baseball, our first pitch. Lineups coming up next on Fox Sports Midwest. Cardinals tonight, game #1 of 3 this weekend here at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Big crowd. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Jim Edmonds here in the booth. Erica Weston with us as well. It is hot, 93 degrees here in the Gateway City. Milwaukee a 1-game lead ahead of Chicago. The Cardinals are 6.5 games back, and St. Louis 4 out in the wild card as Mike Matheny checks the official lineup card with his card there in the Cardinal dugout.
Definitely don't want those two not to match, or you have some issues. Seen that quite a few times over my years, your years, I'm sure.
Yeah, the Reds had that situation earlier this season, and it went in their favor. Carlos Martinez won his 3rd consecutive start on Saturday against the Giants at AT&T Park. He allowed just 1 run in 7 innings, and it looks like Carlos is getting back to where he was prior to heading to the DL.
Yeah, he's definitely got to get it going again. It's about the time where that all-star break, you start to measure where you're at as a player and where you're at as a team, and couldn't be a better time to turn it up a notch and get ready for the second half.
Here's a look at his Hyundai pitch arsenal. The slider, fastball, sinker, cutter, changeup, curveball. You mention it, he's got it, and when he's right, he's very tough to beat.
He's got it all, and he's got the velocity to go with it, and when he's around the strike zone, he is very effective.
Our lows whole team together. NL Central winning percentages against division rivals. The Cardinals have been very good in this spot. .610 the winning percentage, but you think about what they've done against the Cincinnati Reds. They are 9-1 this year against the Reds. They have dominated them, but that was a team that was struggling under Brian Price. They made the managerial switch to Jim Riggleman, who is still the interim manager, not named the full-time manager yet of the Cincinnati Reds. So they've really turned things around.
Yeah, it's funny how that happens. I don't know if it scares the players or puts them in a different spot. I don't know if a manager can make that much of a difference kind of walking in halfway through the season or even a quarter of the way through the season. But somehow they've turned it around, and now they're kind of a force to be reckoned with, especially with that offense.
They've got a very good lineup, and they produce a bunch of runs. And you think about these three right here. They are all-stars. Scooter, Joey, and Eugenio. That trio, so good. In front of them, Peraza, who's been hot. And then Winker, Barnhart, Duvall, Harvey, the pitcher, batting 8th. And Billy Hamilton is batting 9th. So Carlos Martinez is on the mound. And Jeanette, Votto, and Suarez, that trio, part of the infield. And guys that are headed to the All-Star game.
I like the 3 guys that you circled that didn't end up on the airwaves because we are not caught up to your nice teleprompter so far. But you're right, that middle of that order, pretty talented.
It's a lineup that since June 11th, they're averaging over 6 runs a game.
Tell you what, they're playing in the right ballpark too. When it gets hot there, man, the ball does fly.
And there's a base hit into right field. Over to get it, Jose Martinez. And a leadoff base hit for Peraza. Brings in Scooter Jeanette.
It's the kind of things right here to get you started in the right foot. Just a slider down and away. Doesn't try to do too much. Nice swing. Put the ball down there in the corner for a base hit. You gotta like that your leadoff hitter, right? You're trying to get him on base, so you don't want to see a guy swinging hard for the fences, trying to do too much, popping balls up. Give yourself a chance, stay on the ball, and drive it the other way.
Here's Scooter Jeanette with 15 home runs. He's driven in 59. And in addition to that, he leads the National League with a .326 batting mark. Peraza is a threat to steal. He's got 17 stolen bases this year. There's Jeanette at the top, followed by Markakis, Almora, Kemp, and then Freddie Freeman. And Jeanette bunting and pushed it back foul.
Talk about a change of pace. How about this guy? Milwaukee really couldn't get in the lineup. Talked about maybe they didn't like him over there. Comes over to Cincinnati. Still kind of a part-time player, and I feel like that day he hit the 4 home runs, he's taken off ever since.
Since that time, 38 home runs. Before that game, he had a total of 38 in his career. Here's the 0-1 pitch to Scooter Jeanette. Jeanette, it's interesting, as you talked about, he's claimed off of waivers, and fans and media will say, well, what's the difference? How did this all turn around? And he said that in Milwaukee, it began there towards the latter stages of his time with the Brewers. Made an adjustment at the plate, worked with an assistant hitting coach, the former Astro Jason Lane, and he changed his back foot and where it goes at the end of his swing. And what he's done because of that, closes off the front, stays inside the ball, and hits for power.
Yeah, sometimes it's just a little tweak. You know, it's not much. Talk to a lot of guys playing today, and sometimes it's a mental approach or it's a thought process you can give them to change the way they do things. Sometimes it's talking about trying to stay on their back leg, like Colton Long was talking about. And then sometimes it's just like this little tweak with your feet or with your hands. And I mean, they're all here for a reason. Sometimes it just takes a little extra tweak to keep him here.
And it's fouled back. 0-2 the count. First innings, according to Mike Matheny, talking to him on the road trip, I said, when do you know Carlos is going to have a good night? And he said, more times than not, first innings. You see if he gets locked in, he gets away unscathed. His first inning ERA is 4.20. If he gets out of the first, expect a good night. Here's an 0-2 pitch now to Jeanette. And he struck him out.
What's this pitch right here? This is filthy. Expecting that good hard fastball, and you get that cutter slash slider, especially in on the lefties like that. It just ties you up. Nice pitch.
This time last year, teams were loading up with left-handed batters against Martinez because of the slider and the great success he had had with that against right-handed batters. But this year, the lefties hitting just .217 against him.
Well, the thing about the righties is you can throw the big sweeper that goes across the zone. with the lefties, all you have to do is make a little bit of adjustment and make it a little bit smaller. And so they're going to think it's the fastball when it's a smaller slider, maybe a cutter, and then anything inside like that, you're finished. You can't chase that ball when it's coming down at your feet.
Reds have hit into 80 double plays, third most in Major League Baseball. When we were in Cincinnati, the first guy out on the field for the Reds, extra BP, the man at the plate, Joey Votto. You played with him. You were teammates. His work ethic is really second to none.
Yeah, he's pretty intuitive to what he needs to do on the field to keep himself going. He's all over his game, and you got to keep working when you're at this level. We talk about it all the time. It's just not getting here, it's staying here. Does a really good job of keeping himself honed in, and extra work is a big part of that.
With the career numbers, 12 years down the big leagues for Votto, who, by the way, is 3 for 22 against Carlos Martinez. You say, okay, not bad. However, he's also drawn 14 walks, and his on-base percentage is .472. And he runs a count to 3 balls and no strikes. Tonight is game number 162 against Votto. Full season worth of games. He has put up big numbers against St. Louis. You know, he's got the green light on 3-0, but he'll take the walk. Now, the 15th time he has drawn a walk against Carlos Martinez. Take a look at the Cardinals defensively. Ozuna, Pham, and Martinez in the outfield. Around the Horn, presented by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Jerko, DeYoung, Wong, and Carpenter along the infield, and Yadier Molina is behind the plate. So Suarez, an all-star, leads the National League with 69 runs driven in. He has done that, by the way, in only 76 games. He was injured earlier this year, and he hits a fly ball down the right field line. It's slicing, and it is foul. But think about that. Almost every game he's driving in a run.
Well, thank you very much, Joey Votto. What happens when you hit behind a guy like that? Joey Votto takes a lot of walks. Usually those walks are with guys on base, or there's really no reason to walk him. And you got the guy behind him. It's the benefit of all the guys on base.
So there he is right there. Suarez leading the league in runs batted in. The last Red to do that, it was in 1985, and it was Dave Parker. So it's been a long time.
No nonsense stance at the plate. Ready to go.
And it's 0-2.
Good old-fashioned softball game going on out there. Stand up and be ready to hit.
Well, we mentioned how the Reds have hit into a bunch of double plays, and leading the way, the man at the plate, Suarez. And you know, we talk about it a lot. It can be misleading at times when guys hit the ball hard. Sometimes it turns into 2.
Yeah, definitely, especially line drives, low line drives, getting on top of the ball. Out today, with everyone's sinkers and sliders that are going down, you get on top of pitches, drive them into the ground, you hit them hard. You're right. There's no chance for a righty to get to first base in time. It's a lot of double plays.
Suarez picked up by the Reds for Alfredo Simon. Simon was an all-star for the Reds in 2014. He won 13 games in 2015. And by 2016, he was out of baseball. So this has turned out to be a fabulous deal for the Cincinnati Reds. And the 1-2 pitch by Martinez. And he struck him out. 2 in the inning.
The equalizer, 97-mile-an-hour fastball outside on the black. If he throws like that today, it's going to be a long day for the Reds. That's some special stuff right there.
Here's Jesse Winker here in the month of July. His on-base percentage close to .600. Runners at first and second. Strike one.
You know what I like too at what he did with that last pitch for the strikeout also was he threw a four-seam fastball outside and away, so it does not run back over the plate. So if you miss out there with the two-seamer and lose it, it runs back right over the middle of the plate, and that's when the mistakes happen and the ball gets hammered.
Wow, tied him up 0-2. Oh man. You talk about movement. Wow.
That's no fun as a hitter. Who needs a, yeah, there's that slider to the right, the slider to the righties. Yeah, what about that one right there to the lefties? No thanks.
Here's the 0-2 pitch now to Winker with two runners on. A little bit high.
But that's what that velocity does. That velocity gets the hitter's attention. It gets them to start thinking fastball to catch up. And then when you throw pitches like that, they got to respect the fastball. And that's what I like about the cutter and the tight, small sliders. You don't pick up the spin fast enough. The big one you can see it's a little slower. That is what that's what that does to a left-handed hitter when you got to look for the fastball. See that one you can see it's got a little hump in it. You see the spin a little bit more. It's not as tight. When you throw that tight one in there, they got to look for the fastball and try to react to that. It's almost impossible.
Two and two the count. This will be pitch number 20 of the inning for Martinez. The next to Jesse Winker. Fouled back. Beginning of the year, this is where Carlos Martinez was earning his money. With runners in scoring position, he would dominate the opposition on the year, hitting just .185 all told this season. And another 2-2 pitch. And a fly ball lifted out to deep left center. Ozuna looks up and it's off the top of the wall. 2 runs will score. And it's 2-0 Cincinnati on a double by Jesse Winker.
Little changeup. I was wondering what it was. It was in between speeds. It was up in the air, hanging. See, like I said, when those balls are up out over the plate, you get smashed. Something tight moving inside is tough to pick up, tough to stay on top of. And that's what happens when you get mistakes.
It's Tucker Barnhart. Rounds to second baseman Colton Wong. A double by Winker. And it's 2-0 Cincinnati coming up. Carpenter, DeYoung, and Martinez in the home half of the first. 2-0 Cincinnati. As we move to the bottom of the first, Winker, by the way, the pitch before the double, Martinez hit 99 and his hardest pitch of the year. There's a look at number 13 for the Cardinals, and we're playing on Friday the 13th, and he was a 13th round pick in 2009, and that's Matt Carpenter, followed by Paul DeJong. The team leader in runs driven in right there, Jose Martinez, and he's playing in right field tonight. Marcell Ozuna, Yadier Molina, Jed Jerko, Tommy Pham, Colton Wong, and the pitcher batting ninth, Carlos Martinez. Well, Matt Harvey has pitched well lately. In his last 5 starts, 3-1 with a ERA right around 2.5. His last start, a no decision at Wrigley, 3 runs in 5 2/3. And the Hyundai pitch arsenal for the Dark Knight, Matt Harvey. And the first pitch is strike 2, Carpenter.
Tell you what, when this guy burst onto the scene, I thought he was going to be as good as anyone in this league. And then a few injuries, a little tail off, and then now hopefully for his sake, starting over, he's starting to pick it back up again.
Here's the 0-1 pitch. This is just the 7th inning this season. The Reds have had a lead against the Cardinals of 91 innings played between the two teams.
That's some kind of stat.
The shift on the right side of the infield. Jim Riggleman spent time in the Cardinals organization. No stranger to leading a club. He's done that various spots in his career. He's done a very nice job, and they have not named him as the permanent manager yet. Still has a label of interim. One ball and 2 strikes. Mentioned those injuries for Matt Harvey. He was the 7th overall pick in 2010 out of North Carolina, and burst onto the scene with the Mets. And then he had Tommy John, and then more serious thoracic outlet syndrome, which a lot of pitchers, it's very tough to come back from that. Carpenter drives it in the gap in right center, and the catch is made. Sliding for it, Billy Hamilton.
Nice look right there. Billy Hamilton can really run in the outfield. He does a nice job on that sinking liner. It's nice to see those guys run when they're running in the outfield like that.
Remember, the only game the Reds won was the game that Billy Hamilton put on a show, both defensively and at the plate. He was all over the place on a Sunday afternoon at the Great American Ballpark. There's Paul DeJong, and the 0-1 pitch. Rolled up the third base line, and a fair ball and a base hit for DeJong. Kubota Power Stats with Jose Martinez coming to the plate. His season against the Reds, a good one. .425 the average, 4 homers, 6 doubles, and he's driven in 13. Not bad.
Not bad at all. Hopefully still got some games left in him against the Reds this year.
That's 6 straight games now with a hit for DeJong since returning from the DL, and 8 consecutive overall. And strike 1. Notice the Reds play a very deep outfield. Now, part of that is because of Martinez at the plate, but in general, they do that.
Just watching Adam Duvall out there. He's pretty much sideways. Couldn't figure out if he was working on his hitting stance or he was playing defense.
Duvall is the left fielder, and it looks like his left foot going forward with his back towards Billy Hamilton going that way.
I'm not sure if we get a good look at this, but it's one of the more unusual stances I've ever seen in the outfield right here. Now he basically looks like he's just given up on left center field. Be interesting to see what happens if the ball's hitting the gap.
One ball and 2 strikes. The young back in safely. And a pitch in the dirt, 2-2. Martinez leads the club in runs driven in, 55, hitting .301 at the start of play with 13 home runs. In right field tonight, Cardinals have talked about trying to get better defensively. No secret, Martinez has had some issues at first base, but with a guy like Carlos on the mound, ground balls, you can see why maybe you go in a different direction along the infield. Marcell Ozuna at the on-deck circle. Jose hitting .333 with runners on. That leads the Cardinals. The 2-2. Tapped foul. Our first pitch tonight, the ceremonial first pitch, was thrown out by St. Louis native Jason Tatum of the Boston Celtics, and he'll join us in inning number 2, I believe. Now we're told 3rd inning.
Checking out these outfielders. Never really seen this. I feel like the right fielder and the left fielder are facing away from the center fielder. See if he doesn't turn too in right field. Oh, missed it.
He sure did.
I don't know if I've ever seen that.
So Winker is looking this way for whatever reason and set up in that direction with his body completely turned. Duvall the other way. And then you're left with Billy Hamilton to go get it.
Hamilton's got about 250 feet to cover all by himself.
And the 2-2 pitch now to Jose Martinez. A strikeout in the first of the night for Matt Harvey. Duvall, Hamilton, and Winker in the outfield. Around the Horn is presented by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Suarez, Peraza, Jeanette, and Votto on the infield, and Tucker Barnhart is behind the plate. He won the Gold Glove last year in the National League for catchers. Cardinals trying any which way to get Marcell Ozuna going. Last 11 games hitting just .156. And a fastball taken low. Matt Harvey against the Cardinals. You may remember he's pitched twice against St. Louis this year. Once as a Met, that was in relief, and once as a starter for Cincinnati. Went 6 innings, allowed 5 runs in that game. 1 ball, 1 strike. That is different, isn't it?
I mean, I'm just really confused a little bit by. I would love to hear the explanation.
Here's a 1-1 and a base hit into left field for Ozuna. What'd you think, Jimmy? It's, hey, you got everything in right from where you're standing to the line. You and left, you got everything where you're at to the line. And Billy Hamilton, we got so much speed. We're banking on you to make these plays.
I hope not, because that's a long way to run for even the fastest man on the planet, let alone just a guy like Billy Hamilton. I mean, he's fast, but there's just no way to cover that much ground. Quite interesting, because I think you're just basically giving up on a step going into the gap.
Nice round of applause as Molina introduced as all-star catcher Yadier Molina, his 9th coming up. Two outs and 2 on. The most starts by a catcher, the great Hall of Famer Johnny Bench. The all-star selections, then Mike Piazza, Gary Carter, Yadier Molina. The top 3 in the Hall of Fame. Molina could be on his way. In my mind, he is. He also makes a little history tonight. He ties former Cardinal Tony Pena 8th all-time among catchers in combined games started in both regular season and postseason play. Tony Pena's son Francisco there in the dugout. Two balls and 1 strike. Yadi will be the oldest all-star participating in the game this year by over a year. 36 years young and not slowing down. Hits it up the middle and a base hit. The Cardinals get on the board as DeYoung will score in a 2-out single from Yadier Molina. All the runs in this game have been scored with 2 outs.
A good job by Yadi, staying within himself and just driving the ball back right up the middle. That's what I'm talking about, just not doing too much. Sometimes you just got to hit the ball in the barrel. It'll find its way through the infield. Line drive into the outfield. You don't have to, it doesn't always have to be that A+ swing all the time to get the job done.
2 outs and 2 on. Strike 1 on Jerko. And 2 strikes now on Jed Jerko. Cardinals went 5-4 in the just completed 9-game road trip. They averaged 6 runs a game. And the starter's ERA was just above 3. So good starting pitching, plenty of offense. And they went 5-4. There's an 0-2 pitch to the Cardinal third baseman. Fouled back. Jerko hitting .389 with runners in scoring position. That last pitch was upper 90s from Matt Harvey. We did not see that earlier in the season, and
we haven't seen that for a while. I mean, he's had some injuries obviously and had some things not go his way, but yeah, it's talking a lot about velocity, how that makes a big difference for a lot of these pitchers. But when he was 96, 97, when he first came up, he was almost unhittable. Him getting that back is a big key. Feel a lot better about yourself standing on the mound with 96 in your arm than you do with 92.
Here's a 1-2 pitch. 2-2. I think the idea for the Reds is that, look, we'll let them get some starts, maybe catch lightning in a bottle and flip them at the deadline as they continue to rebuild. First inning ERA for Matt Harvey coming into play tonight is over 7. And the 2-2 pitch to Jed Jerko. Fouled back. May have gotten away with that pitch too.
Pretty good swing right there. Felt it's pretty much straight back. But like I said, he's got good velocity like that. The slider, the changeup, sinker. As a hitter, you got to really go after something right away. And that's why I keep talking about that velocity. It just makes you have to speed up so much faster as a hitter.
Two balls, two strikes. And the next to Jed Jerko. High fly ball out to deep right field. At the wall and caught. He gave it a ride and the Cardinals strand two, but they pick up a run. The 2-out RBI single from Yadier Molina. 2-1 after one. Check in with Erica.
Dan, Bud Norris and Jordan Hicks had an opportunity to clear the air with the media before today's game after a report about their relationship in the bullpen, both of them coming to the conclusion that the report was blown out of proportion. Jordan Hicks saying it's nothing but the best of intentions for the growth of his career. Bud is one of the best in the pen on giving advice, and it all just got blown out of proportion. As for Norris, he said, a lot's been made of this. I have nothing but respect for my team, and Jordan and I hold each other accountable. He says he has a unique relationship with Hicks, and he knows that they're focusing on a second half push. They've talked about it, they've talked it out, and it's nothing but brotherly love. He hopes. John Mozeliak also weighed in. He said he felt better after asking some questions of the two. He said nothing's going on here that isn't going on anywhere else. Jordan is appreciative of those helping him grow in his career, guys.
All right, you're referring to the report that was released, I guess, about 48 hours ago, and talking essentially about tough love, lack of a better term, a veteran with a rookie, and obviously Bud Norris and Hicks clearing the air, saying that they're just trying to get the best out of Jordan Hicks, and they're moving on.
Well, there's definitely ways to get the rookies to understand the game, and part of that way is to do some things that makes it a little tough on them or give them a little tough love, but you don't want to go overboard. You don't want to lose the player. You don't want the player to start resenting people and things, and especially when you got a good player that's helping your team. I always felt like if you get a rookie up there who's not playing, you can ride him a little bit, but if you got a guy up there that's helping your team and he's doing a great job on the field, you kind of got to back off a little bit, and you got to let him do his thing. But you also have to teach him too, and some people's way of teaching is to push and prod and have some fun with them, and sometimes the rookies take it the wrong way, but it's all meant in good love and fun. And that's just the way the game was played for hundreds of years before we got here, and 100 years. But yeah, there's a time and a place for all that stuff.
Did you have a guy do that to you?
Always. Everyone. Every year, you're always younger than someone. They're always watching you. But not overboard.
And went through Martinez, but to Colton Wong. Wong has got some unique spikes going tonight.
Those are some special sandals he's got working tonight. I don't know if they're orange or gold or.
Brings in Matt Harvey, and the pitcher batting 8th. I was with Bud in a program, Bud Norris, prior to the game tonight. He really did a outstanding job with a Q&A session, a meet and greet with military from Scott Air Force Base. He went there yesterday on his own. He had family that was in the military. His grandfather and father were in the Navy. And so he went out to Scott Air Force Base, met with families, those involved in the military, and then invited many of them to come to the ballpark. Over 200 bought tickets for them, put money on the tickets, make sure they could enjoy their time here at the ballpark. For concessions, meet and greet, everybody took pictures. Outstanding. The 2-2 pitch, a little bit low. Jimmy, there's a 2-2 and a slider to Matt Harvey with Martinez, who's throwing upper 90s tonight. And that's lined into right and a foul ball.
Yeah, sometimes you wonder in pitch selection, but you can't second guess it. I just think that you're right. When you see velocity like that, you want him to stick with his best pitch, and right now the best pitch would be the sinker, but it's had so much success with that slider with the strikeouts.
Our Toyota keys to the game. Well, for Carlos Martinez, pretty simple. Keep it going. His last 3 starts have been very good for the Cardinal right-hander, and part of that is controlling the Reds infield that we talked about with Jeanette, Votto, and Suarez. That trio headed to the All-Star game, and they're back to back to back in the lineup and very, very good.
Yeah, that's a part of the lineup that you have to really pay attention to, like you said, and it's definitely causes a lot of concern for a lot of pitchers around the league, and it's one way to control this team.
Hamilton had 2 catches at the wall. That game that Cincinnati, the only game they beat in St. Louis this year. He had a couple of outfield assists and scored a pair of runs as well. And it was done with that great speed that he has.
Some kind of fun to watch.
There's Adam Wainwright, and his bobblehead is tomorrow here at the ballpark, and still good seats remain. Two and two the count. Next to Hamilton, take it low. Cardinals have lost 4 straight here at home and 8 of their last 11 at Busch Stadium. That has got to change if they're going to make a run in the Central. Start a record of 47 and 44 tonight. That's popped up and out of play.
I just love the foul balls in the stands. People trying to go catch them. Use that hat. Would not use my bare hands.
The 22nd pitch of the inning, and it is pulled foul. And the 3-2 hit out to right, backing up Martinez. He'll look up, and it's off the wall. Hamilton racing to second base with a 2-out double.
Martinez does a pretty nice job. Just goes back, gets a jump, goes back, doesn't try to do too much, and then your job as the outfielder is just get the ball back into the cutoff man. Pretty simple. Don't make it too hard.
Here's Jose Peraza. Yeah, you played in this ballpark a bunch, Jimmy, and they talk about it where you really need to go out early because of this area here. And right there, and that's where that fencing is, and you're not sure if the ball is going to be grabbed by that chain link fence and just drop.
Starting to get jealous about your drawing skills.
Well, it just accentuates the point.
I like it. But you're right, you do need to pay attention because that fence right there, the ball will definitely bounce off of that a little bit harder than it will on that pad.
Here's a 1-1 pitch. Back to Martinez. And he makes the play. So Hamilton is stranded. We're midway through 2. It'll be Pham coming up when we come back. Hey, Cardinal fans, if you can't catch a game on TV, you can stream games live on your mobile device. Download the Fox Sports Go app. Log in and stream the Cardinals. Mentioned that the Reds have dropped 9 of 10 against the Cardinals this year. They're starters with an ERA over 6. But as we mentioned, it's a different team under Jim Riggman, playing much better baseball. And here's Tommy Pham, who's had big numbers against the Reds here in 2018. Two balls and no strikes. Outfield is straight away. It's sharply to second, taken there by Jeanette. MLB.TV All-Star Sale is here for $39.99. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live or on demand. That subscription will include MLB At Bat Premium. Take advantage of the sale. MLB.TV. I don't remember any point in time, and I could be wrong, that Colton Wong was wearing these cleats.
I have not seen them before. Would not be surprised if it's a one-day thing. If you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Here's the 0-1 pitch.
Maybe it's for Yachty's birthday.
Well, I'm sure it's got to signify something. At least I'd like to hope that's the case. Here's the 0-2 pitch. There are uniform specifications, from the compression sleeves to what's worn under the uniform in terms of the T-shirt.
There were specifications. We've gotten a little bit more laxed.
Hit to the right side. And that's number 2. Brings in Carlos Martinez. Sitting .241 with 1 home run, and he's driven in 4. Cardinals trailing 2-1 as he play here in the home half of the second. Our visit with Jason Tatum coming up in the 3rd on Cowboy Hat Night here at the ballpark. Did you get your hat?
No, but I think there's a few back there in the booth. But I'm seeing plenty of them in the stands, and I'd like to see you go home with one tonight yourself. That one you had on earlier today fits you quite nicely. Just like that right there.
Yeah, it's a good look. That young lady we just had a shot of, she had 2 of them on. There you go. 2.
I think they needed to make a bigger size for that other guy back a couple of shots back. One size fits all.
You don't like it? You need to put one on.
I need one.
Well, as you mentioned, there's plenty back there, so.
There you go. Not one size fits all. Fits most.
And that is a ball. 2-2.
Pretty sure it wouldn't fit Mr. Martinez with that hair he's got working tonight too.
Hits it to the right side. Jeanette has it. Race to the bag and save. A base hit for Carlos Martinez.
Good job by Martinez sniffing out a hit. I'll tell you what, Tucker Barnhart then made a nice play behind the plate. He started off down the line. What most catchers will do will run almost all the way to the first base dugout. He realized with the angle of that ball that he had to stop and actually go back towards the plate and put himself in the path of where that ball was going to end up. If he keeps running and not paying attention, that's a double. The ball's all the way back behind the plate.
Good point. Here's Carpenter. It's a sliding catch by Billy Hamilton to take a hit away. And he's 0 for 1. Hitting for a lot of power. 44 extra base hits to go along with 37 singles this year for Carpenter. He's never had a season with more extra base hits than singles. Majority of those have been doubles, and he's 3rd in the National League in that category with 27. One ball and 1 strike. The Pirates have jumped out to a 6-3 lead against Milwaukee. Cubs will play later tonight in San Diego. The 2-1 pitch to Carpenter.
It's a good take right there. That's a pretty good pitch. And fooled the umpire.
I thought he had strike 3 on Martinez. Didn't get the call. John Tumpain, the home plate umpire. Let's see if he lets it rip right here on a 3-1 pitch. He'll take the walk. Leads the Cardinals in that category. The first walk issued by Matt Harvey. Umpires tonight: Chris Guccione at first, Shane Livensparger at second. Jim Reynolds is the crew chief, and he's down at third. A 2-out rally now for the Cardinals. It's an infield hit, first time up for Paul DeYoung. Strike one. Probably still getting his timing back, comfort level back. It's been a week since he returned to the Cardinals' everyday lineup. Into right and out of play. Oh, 0-2 the count on the Cardinals shortstop. Looking for his first RBI since coming off the DL. Just missed. You know, velocity's been pretty good tonight for Harvey.
Yeah, he's been hovering around the mid-90s. Been able to go down to 91 and up to 96. Really does make that off-speed pitches, those off-speed pitches, much better, much tougher to read as a hitter.
Nasty pitch there, and he strikes out DeYoung. Cardinals will strand a pair. The second strikeout for Matt Harvey. Jason Tatum, one of the best that St. Louis has ever seen in high school, and now an NBA star, making a difference in our community. Back with Jason next. Tatum, the rookie of the month in the NBA, made the all-rookie team. 8th highest three-point field goal percentage, and almost made it to the NBA Finals with the historic Boston Celtics. Native of St. Louis, attended Chaminade, Gatorade National Player of the Year, went on to Duke and drafted 3rd overall in 2017 by Boston. And Jason Tatum has been kind enough to join us. Welcome back to St. Louis.
Thanks for having me.
How about the first pitch? How did it go?
It went great. It could have been better, but I wasn't nervous. It's always been a dream of mine to come out here and throw the first pitch, so I'm glad it was able to happen.
Did you play any baseball growing up?
Yeah, when I was younger, probably till I was about 12 years old, but the mound is a lot farther than I expected.
And a strike to Mike Myers. How about a Cardinal fan? Were you a Cardinal fan growing up?
Yes, I was. Albert Pujols was my favorite player.
That's a pretty good one to have.
Yeah, he brought us 2 World Series.
That's out to deep right. And a home run for Scooter Gennett. Gennett with home run number 16, and that makes it a 3-1 Cincinnati lead here in the top of the 3rd. Was the NBA experience your rookie year, and you've been around it with Larry Hughes and so many others that helped you get to that point? Was it what you thought it might be?
Yeah. I mean, it was more fun than I imagined. I've always dreamed about going to the NBA since I was 4 years old, and I still had the jitters and the nervousness, and just as excited from game 1 to game 7 in the Eastern Conference Finals. It was just every day I had to pinch myself. I couldn't imagine that I was really out there in the NBA.
You almost made it to the NBA Finals. Does it still bother you a little bit that you didn't get there?
Yeah, especially my first year. Playing LeBron James, in a game 7 and go to the championship in your first year. We were less than 2 minutes away from, getting over that hump and beating them. But, there's always next year.
We have a picture that I asked to have the guys find, and I was watching you this night, Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals. It's a pretty good dunk over a pretty good player, and that's LeBron James. The emotions of that dunk right there, what was that like for you?
It's by far the greatest moment of my basketball career. The biggest game I've ever played in, against obviously the best player I've ever played, if not the best player I ever played. It's a moment, and a highlight in the picture, I'll always remember, for the rest of my career.
How about the camps you're doing here in St. Louis? What do you got going?
Yeah, I just finished the camp, at Chaminade today. It started Wednesday, and it went through today is Friday. We had 2 sessions. We had over 400 kids, split up into 2 sessions, and I had a blast. I always, wanted to come back and give back and, have a camp. And, for my first year to have that many kids show up and just to see their excitement, and have fun with me in the gym. I had a blast these last 3 days.
Who was most influential for you in your career?
My mom and dad for sure. But, basketball-wise, Brad Beal, he's obviously from St. Louis. He went to Chaminade.
David Lee.
Brad, we're really, really close. He actually used to take me home from school. His senior year at Chaminade was my 7th grade year. He used to take me home every day, and he was just a guy I really, really looked up to and wanted to be like.
You're playing for a historic franchise in all the sports too. What is that like, playing for the Boston Celtics?
It doesn't get any better than that. I go to Duke University, play for Coach K, one of the best programs, college basketball, and then, just to go to the next step and play for Boston. I think Duke really helped prepare me for that. The spotlight and the stage and the amount of national TV games that we played on. Duke really helped me out, and I love Boston. We got the best fans in the NBA, and they're really supportive. And I'm just thankful to be there.
With your camps, do you feel like you're an inspiration to a lot of kids to come out of St. Louis and have a chance to advance, whether it be to college or to the pros?
Yeah, and it really helps, when I come back, because just to see, how excited they are, and the questions they ask me, and how they say they watch every game, and they want to be just like me. Actually hearing it in person, there's no better feeling than that. And I can't wait for the next, Jason Tatum to come out of here and, be better than me. And hopefully he inspires the kids younger than him, to be better than him.
Here's an 0-1 pitch to Tucker Barnhart. I got to be honest, I'm not real happy with you because I was expecting that you were going to bring some pizzas. You are the Emos guy now. Yeah. So where's the pizza?
Man, it's still a Chaminade. They brought, we had over probably 400 or 500 pizzas brought, these last 3 days. And, I'm all emoed out right now. I had so much pizza in the last 3 days. Take a break.
Chaminade High School, one of the greatest players ever to come out of St. Louis, Jason Tatum. Thank you, Jason. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. The final of the FIFA World Cup on Fox, France and Croatia. Coverage begins at 9, and you can see it on Fox or the Fox Sports app. Great to visit with Justin Tatum, who will go down as one of the all-time greats, barring any injury, the history of basketball here in St. Louis. What a remarkable talent. Here's Jose Martinez, Marcelo Zunem, and Yadier Molina. I used to go to some of his high school games. I'm a big basketball fan, certainly love high school basketball, and watching him against some of the top talent, it wasn't even close.
How about when he played there from a sophomore on, you couldn't get in the gym?
Right.
Yeah, he's done something special with his abilities, and it's pretty fun to watch.
Jose Martinez struck out swinging first time up. Outfield is deep and straight away. 3-1 after the Jeanette home run.
Is that fair to ask him to take a picture and then ask him to sit down so he doesn't stand 2 feet taller than us?
He's about 2 feet taller. No big deal.
Can we get a picture with you? Do you mind sitting down, please?
That is a great shot, though, that dunk over LeBron James in the Eastern Conference Finals.
How about having that picture? As a kid growing up, all right, you did this, I'm sure. I used to have the pennants on the ceiling and a big circle, and then your favorite athlete. And then all of a sudden there's a picture. You have your own poster of yourself dunking on LeBron James.
There it is.
That is some kind of picture. He was amazing to watch. He really could turn it up.
We got so much better as I love the NBA, and he got so much better as the year went on. In particular, just how well he shot the basketball from long range. You don't see rookies shoot that well, and he was getting better and better and better as the year was going on.
And you noticed it too, that I thought was pretty cool, was he actually took over some games on his own. at, what is he, 20? 21 maybe? I forget how old he is. 2 years out of high school.
And Kyrie Irving was hurt at the end. Gordon Hayward was their big free agent signing that they brought in, and he had a horrific ankle injury, leg injury, so a lot of the load was carried by a rookie in Jason Tatum. Here's a 2-2 pitch to Jose Martinez. I was talking with Bud Norris today, and he mentioned the guy that I loved growing up was Chipper Jones. He said, I saw Chipper play a lot on the Superstation, and he grew up in San Francisco. And I said, well, how did you fare? And he goes, I can't remember. He got a double the first time, and then he just went through every at bat.
Yeah,
he knew
I can't
everything.
really remember, but
the strikeout of Martinez. You've told me that Nolan Ryan was one of your favorites growing up, and then you had the chance to face him.
yeah, I did, and I was a pitcher obviously growing up, and just him being in Anaheim, and he was one of those guys you could see throwing the ball, and the ball just stayed on the same plane. He threw so hard, but getting to face him was pretty cool.
You have to step out of the box, kind of take a breath, and say, okay, I belong here too.
The coolest thing that ever happened to me is my other favorite player was Don Mattingly. Now I've gotten to be friends with him, which the very first time we played against the Yankees, I happened to be playing first base. Just happened to be filling in for JT Snow. And it was about a month, maybe 2 months into the season. I was having a good season. And he gets a base hit with 2 strikes, and he stands on first base, and he looks me dead in the eye, and he said, hey, did you see my Jim Edmonds approach right there? And my jaw dropped to the floor.
Ozuna yanks it foul.
He spread out and went a little no stride because he used to have that leg kick where he had, I guess it really wasn't a leg kick, but a leg lift. And when he said that, I just didn't even know what to say. I was just like, okay. What you say when your childhood idol, now when you're 23 years old, is standing next to you telling you that he's hitting like you.
It's great.
And it all comes full circle when a guy like Bud Norris is talking about his childhood idol as a guy who I played against every day. So now I'm feeling old.
Chipper, the Hall of Famer, 3-1. Boy, Harvey's gone to that outside portion of the plate and cannot get the call with right-handers up from John Tumpane.
He's just missing off the edge, which is a really good spot to miss. Be really nice if you're the pitcher and you're getting that call. You can go out there. We had a game last week, I think, that they were given the outside edge, and I'd say if you're the pitcher, you got to go to that spot when you need a pitch.
And the 3-2 to Ozuna. Here's a ground ball that's hit to short, taken by Peraza, and out number 2. His last 4 starts, he's putting it together. You're seeing that. This is a different looking pitcher than the one we saw a month and a half, 2 months ago. The last 4 starts, he's 3-0 with a 1.88 ERA. And in steps Yadier Molina. He had a 2-out RBI single to center for the lone run for the Cardinals back in the first. And another ground ball up the middle. Loved by Peraza, and a 1-2-3. The first 1-2-3 of the night for either side. John Brebbia, Luke Weaver, option to AAA. And let's check in with Erica with more on that.
Hey, Dan, I got an update on Michael Wacha and Adam Wainwright. Starting with Waino, John Mozeliak said in the next 2 weeks he'll throw a bullpen. They're thinking early to mid-August for a rehab assignment. He imagines he would go out as a starter rather than as a reliever out of the pen, but that's, of course, based on what they need at the moment. As for Michael Wacha, he said a positive review of the ultrasound, but they need to be patient. They're still not sure as far as determining when his throwing program will start, but they're encouraged with where he's at. He will require a 3-week throwing program, and then, of course, they'll determine the length of his rehab assignment, guys.
All right, thank you, Erica. We're in inning number 4. Adam Duvall at the plate, and strike one. Well, the Reds coming off an ugly 19-4 loss on Wednesday against Cleveland. But even with that loss, they've won 19 of their last 28, so playing much better baseball. And we noticed when we were in Cincinnati and Jim Riggleman had just been named the interim manager. Guys out early for BP, early infield, early outfield. They've cleaned it up defensively. They've always been able to hit, it seems like, the last couple of years. The question would be, can they pitch? Matt Harvey doing that tonight. Here's a 1-2. Little bit low. Duvall grounded to second first time up. His average at 200, 6th lowest right now among regulars in baseball. Held on to by Molina, and a strikeout. Struck out 2 in the first, and now he's 3rd overall. Here's Matt Harvey, grounded out to second, first time up. One ball and one strike. Cardinals will send Jack Flaherty to the mound tomorrow against Luis Castillo. 1-2. Miles Michaelis to finish up the first half on Sunday. Anthony DiSclafani. There's a look at the All-Star Michaelis. And strikeout number 4. So the probables for the rest of the series: Castillo, Flaherty, DiSclafani, Michaelis, and both games on Fox Sports Midwest. Budweiser, what's on tap? What a first half for Miles Michaelis. He'll pitch on Sunday, will not pitch in the All-Star game. If you pitch in the game or start on Sunday, you cannot then pitch in the All-Star game. And looking ahead to the beginning of the second half, Cardinals begin with 5 games in 4 days against the Cubs. And take it even further, 8 of the first 11 of the second half against Chicago. An 11-pitch inning for Carlos Martinez midway through 4. Reds on top. This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Jed Jerko, Tommy Pham, and Colton Wong for the Cardinals. Here in the bottom of the fourth and trailing 3-1. It's another big crowd here at Busch Stadium. Two strikes on the Cardinals' third baseman. I don't think you ever like to say it's make or break time until you get in September and you've got the head-to-head matchup with a team that you have to catch. But 8 of 11 to start the second half against the Cubs. That's big.
I feel like when you're not achieving what you think you can, I think you can probably say that a couple times during the course of the year as the manager. I guess. And that would be, I definitely would throw some attention on that series and maybe to start hyper focusing on a goal. And that definitely is, I mean, a very important window for them to play, because that's a good team, first of all. And second of all, like you said, you're in the division and you can separate yourself one way or the other. I mean, playing 500 is great. Winning that series is great. But if you don't play well or don't pay attention, you can really lose some ground in a hurry. And you're right. I guess make or break. You could probably have a couple of those during the season as a team. And yeah, this might be the first one where maybe a little bit more focus on playing the game the right way and really working on grinding out some wins and start that goal to drive towards the postseason.
0-2 on Tommy Pham. Hats galore here at the ballpark. It's a unique shot here at Busch Stadium on a cowboy hat night.
Little cowboy music in between innings.
Achy breaky heart, one of your favorites. Pham strikes out looking. He's 8 for his last 67. 4 strikeouts for Harvey. And the batter will be Colton Wong.
I want to show you something in this replay. Look at this foot right here. Right there, that foot. When you start to see players roll to the outside of that foot, that's what puts you in a weird hitting position. Talk about how he might be struggling a little bit. We talked about it earlier in the year, Tommy and I did. When you see that foot start to roll, that means your body's starting to roll away from the plate. And that's sometimes when you land as a hitter and you're unsure of yourself, you do that and you don't recognize it. I used to do this a lot. And you can see right here when he hits, he's hitting a little outside right there. Well, that outside on the outer part of that foot right there allows your butt and your front leg to kind of get away from the plate, which then takes your shoulders and your bat away from the plate. And sometimes you don't feel that. And that's something that can be brought to the attention of the hitter, where you really got to stay on the instep of your foot when you land, because that has all your power and all your control, and it actually keeps you engaged in the strike zone. When that foot starts to roll, your whole body starts to roll away.
Here's a 1-2 pitch now. Harvey to Wong. Jim mentioned that he wanted to see the cowboy hats being used.
There we go. That's what it's for. Nice play. A mouthful of food.
And Wong, another chance with a hat. Well, they're going to the hats to use them.
Tony La Russa style.
Good point.
Remember he used to do that?
He was about 1 for 87 on a year.
Then when the ball hit the hat, he would let go of it.
Yeah.
Like, kind of supposed to hang on to it if you want the ball to stay in there.
Colton Wong has talked about keeping his weight back. Grounded out first time up and grounds out here. Votto backhands and takes it himself. All of a sudden, Matt Harvey is locked in, 7 in a row. Rollins up the middle for so many years for the Phillies, and Chase Utley from Pasadena, California, and will retire, it looks like, as a Dodger, and still plenty of baseball this year for Chase Utley. And a strike to Peraza, and we're underway here in inning number 5. Scooter Gennett at the on-deck circle, then Joey Votto. Ground ball to short. DeYoung up with it, and there's one away. The 2018 Cardinals Hall of Fame induction class has been selected. Join the Cardinals and Edward Jones. We honor Harry Brackeen, Vince Coleman, and Ray Lankford at the 2018 Hall of Fame induction ceremony, August 18th at 3. It's open to the public at Ballpark Village. Cardinals.com/HOF to find out more. Scooter Gennett 1 for 2 with a home run, his 16th of the year. Out in front on a changeup, 1 ball and 1 strike. Go back to April 24th, Gennett hitting .348. That's a long time. That's tops in all of baseball. Oh boy. Wow. Back in the 3rd inning, this solo home run. He knew it was out of here, and so did Martinez. And now he's hit by a pitch. On the 1-2, he's hit by a pitch.
That slider right there at the back foot ends up hitting the front foot. Moved the wrong foot. We call it a back foot slider for a reason, right? But did you see the foot that he moved? He moved the back foot out of the way and it hit the front foot.
It's 11th time he's been hit tied for most in all of baseball. Here's Joey Votto. Walked and scored in the first and grounded out to short. Two and 0. If you were to describe Joey Votto to somebody in
I was just thinking about this.
As a
He's
hitter,
an intriguing cat.
Yeah, I mean, how
he is very.
You played with him. What would you say?
He's a good player. He's a quirky guy. He kind of does his own thing, but I'm telling you, he knows what he wants to do at the plate. Interesting fellow. Good guy though. I like him.
Flat out hit.
Yeah, he can. I'd like to see him hit for some more power, but when you're a hitter, you got to decide which direction you're going to go for, and you're going to hit for average, you're going to hit for power. And he's shortened up his swing, and he's working more or less for average, I think, and so the power numbers will be just a little bit down.
Back to Martinez, and they'll get the lead man.
Nice play by Martinez right there. Shows his athletic ability. Watch how quickly he gets rid of this ball. A little bit of the use of the blimp cam today.
The blimp cam, huh?
Looks like we get that shot from the blimp. To look up there and see if it was flying overhead. There you go. There's a blimp cam.
I would imagine that's the camera of Phil Nichols, who is traveling all over the ballpark.
He might be flying from one side of the ballpark to the other.
Phil is on these hot nights, boy, he's hustling all over the place. He's in the upper deck somewhere.
Helicopter cam.
0-2 the count on Suarez, who is struck out and also grounded back to Martinez. Pitch count at 84 with this delivery. Carlos is due up first for the Cardinals in the home half of the fifth. Something that's rather odd, but Joey Votto's been picked off 3 times. 3.
Told you he was interesting.
For someone that has 1 stolen base and he's not going anywhere. He felt, he was asked about not winning the MVP last year, and he was very close to winning it despite playing on a club that didn't have many wins. And he said, my base running is something I have to get better at. And he made it a point of emphasis coming into this season.
He's one of those guys that thinks about hitting so much. I wouldn't be surprised if he's not replaying his at bat in his head when he's out at first base, especially if he has a tough at bat. Get caught napping a little bit.
Out to right, and Martinez can't come up with it. Over his glove, and they'll hold Votto at third base. That should be an out. Hard hit, but should be an out. It's ruled a double for Suarez, extends the inning to Winker.
It was, in all fairness, a tough play, I think, for Jose, because that ball's really hit. And I think he thinks it's not. That's the hardest ball to read in the outfield, is the ball that's not hit very high but yet hit hard. Remember John Olerud used to play for the Toronto Blue Jays, and he took the easiest swing in all of baseball and hit the hardest line drives at me. And a couple of times he almost caught me, because you really can't judge that ball, how hard it's hit when it's that low. It doesn't have any air to it. You don't really hear the noise as much, and it's very hard to judge. looks like an easy swing. Some of those guys are really strong. They hit the ball a little bit harder than most. The ball will really carry on you in a hurry. A lot of people like to say, well, you got lazy, you didn't get back. Well, you can't, your mind can't tell you something that, your body can't tell you something that your mind's not reading.
And the Cardinals, the intentional pass to Winker to bring in Barnhart twice, is grounded out to second. The byproduct of this extends the inning for Martinez. Slowly hit to Young, and he makes the play. Red strand of bases loaded, no damage done. We're midway through 5, and the Reds on top here in game 1. Fox, presented by MasterCard. That'll be Tuesday at 6:30 from our nation's capital. The All-Star game on Fox. Carlos Martinez, his night is through. Dexter Fowler, the switch hitter, will pinch hit. '89 pitches, 60 were strikes for Martinez, as Luke Ragerson, just activated, is warming up in the Cardinals bullpen. Well, hot night. Wasn't a real smooth, easy 5 innings for Martinez, so Mike Matheny going to his bullpen. And the 0-1 pitch to Dexter Fowler coming up in a moment. One ball and 1 strike. They're in the top of the 9th in Pittsburgh, a 7-3 lead over Milwaukee. And the 1-2 pitch. 2-2. '79 pitches tonight for Harvey. Dexter had the grand slam the other night. You'd like to think it could be a starting point, jump start to his season. Did that from the right side of the plate. And the 2-2. A strikeout of Fowler, and Harvey's up to 5. Christmas in July night returns to Busch Stadium on Monday, July 30th. Presented by Holiday World and Splash In Safari. Fans who purchase a special theme ticket receive an exclusive Santa Fredbird bobblehead. And tickets at Cardinals.com/theme. Third time through the lineup. Let's see what the Cardinals can do. Strike one on Carpenter.
If you pay attention to Matt Harvey, what he does really well is takes a page out of the old Greg Maddux book where he runs the ball across the zone on both sides of the plate. So the ball will run off the zone to the right-hander and then back into the right-hander. And then you get the left-hander up there and you throw the ball where it cuts into you, and then he'll run the fastball that's running away from you on both sides of the plate. So you never know which pitch is coming. Most pitchers like to stay with the same stuff over and over and over, and if you can kind of get an idea of what they're trying to do, you can kind of guess to what area they're going to. What makes a guy like Harvey so successful is he doesn't fall into that pattern, and he gets the ball on both sides of the plate, and then the velocity is adding to it.
2-2.
Like I said, when he came onto the scene, he was something special, and it's hard to watch when a guy has that much stuff and talent to go out there a few years later and pitch with just 91, 92.
A high fly ball into right. Winker with the catch. What keeps you honest at the plate, doesn't it?
Yeah, pitching inside is key. But like I said, a lot of guys just will throw sinkers away, sliders in, and then changeup away. So you know if the ball's out over the plate, you're getting fastball changeup. You know if the ball's on the inner half, you're usually going to get that slider. So as a hitter now, when you look out over the plate, anything inside you think is going to break down to your feet, you don't swing at. The guys that are successful are able to do on both sides of the plate with all their pitches.
Paul DeJong with an infield hit, also struck out.
They talk about keeping hitters off balance. It's really not your balance that has anything to do with it. It's your mind. It's about playing tricks on the hitter's mind of what's going to come next.
How often did you guess?
It's weird because you can't really guess because I couldn't look off speed and you can't react to a fastball. So I would think along with the pitcher a lot, and I would take some pitches where I just couldn't really think of what I wanted to do, what he was going to do. I had a pitch to give. But, you know, you have to just look fastball, try to stay up the middle. Sometimes when I thought I knew it was coming, I would look for a changeup, but if it was anything else, you had to take it. But more or less, I tried to really read what was going on in the pitcher's glove or how he was just throwing that day.
And Matt Harvey is through 5, and that's 10 in a row for the Reds right-hander.
for heroes, because no matter where you serve or when you served, we stand ready to serve all military families.
Welcome back, Luke Gregerson in our Chevy call to the pen. He's only appeared in 12 games this year. 3 walks, 8 strikeouts, a high ERA. But the Cardinals get him back in a 3-1 ball game as we play here in the top of the 6th. And the Reds up by a couple of runs. Carlos Martinez goes 5 innings. It'll be Duvall, Harvey, and Hamilton, so 7, 8, and 9 for Cincinnati. Reds picked up 2 runs in the first inning, 1 in the third. They've out-hit the Cardinals 6-4. Duvall 0 for 2. He struck out and grounded out. And the first pitch inside. And the 1-0 now by Gregerson. Martinez tonight 5 innings, 3 runs on 6 hits, struck out 4, walked 2, one of those intentional. And the home run given up to Jeanette. Two one lifted out to deep left center, but there's Tommy Pham. And with more on the roster moves today, let's check in with Erica.
Hey, Dan, with Luke Gregerson and Tyler Lyons being activated, the Cardinals did have to make a roster move. They sent Luke Weaver to AAA along with John Brebbia, but they did say they'll need him in Chicago next weekend. He is expected to pitch. Saturday, of course, against the Cubs is a doubleheader. Weaver is scheduled for a 50-pitch start in Memphis earlier this week, but as far as Gregerson and Lyons are concerned, Mike Matheny said every time you put a new piece in, you have to figure out how they fit, and it's time to figure out how we can have them as consistent pieces of the puzzle.
The Cardinals have not really had the entire bullpen and all those pieces together for the season. The slider misses away, 2 balls and no strikes to Matt Harvey. And it's 3-0. Harvey will be taking a pitch, if not 2. And he walks the pitcher. Want to buy or sell tickets at the last minute? Get the StubHub app and you can grab 100% MLB verified tickets until the first pitch. Sell your extras to another fan. Get the StubHub app today. StubHub, an official partner of your St. Louis Cardinals. 1-out walk to Harvey, and now Billy Hamilton. Doubled off the wall and right, flied out to left. Matt Harvey has had 230 plate appearances, and that was his 4th walk. There's a strike.
Did you say 230?
230, 4 walks.
Guess he's up there hacking, huh?
Mm-hmm. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ozuna is near the line and left. But right there, you wonder, is he a little too deep in that spot?
I like where he's at towards the line, but you're right. I think that, well, with the ball carrying in this weather, you never know. The biggest thing I think for a lot of the corner outfielders is they feel like they're left on an island out there sometimes if you move them over too far. So they don't want to get beat. So now when you move over, you're worried about getting beat into the gap or over your head. For a lot of guys, they don't like to move because they're worried about what if.
And a 2-1 pitch now to Billy Hamilton. Fly ball into, I mean, really shallow left. And the catch made by DeYoung.
So he wasn't shallow enough.
That's what I'm trying to say. And the top of the lineup, and Peraza singled into right, scored back in the first, grounded back to the pitcher, and grounded out to short. 1 for 3. Outfield is straight away. And that's hit down the left field line. It's a fair ball into the corner, dug out by Ozuna. And Harvey will stop at third. Runners at second and third with 2 outs.
It's a pretty good job right here by Peraza keeping this ball fair. I mean, that ball's 6 inches inside, almost in the batter's box. Talk about pulling your hands inside, keeping your hands inside. It's a pretty good example of it right there.
Well, the Cardinals now with the lefty Jeanette coming up will go to Tyler Lyons. The return of Luke Gregerson, a walk and a hit. Got a couple of outs. And Mike Matheny taking no chances here in the 6th inning. 3-1 Reds. Turn of Tyler Lyons. Jeanette, by the way, this year batting .317 against lefties, but in his career against Tyler Lyons, he's just 1 for 10. Jeanette was hit by a pitch and hit a solo home run and is struck out.
That's when you know you're having a good season right there. You're hitting those averages against right and left.
So 2 outs and 2 on. And strike 1. Well, when Lyons is right, you know it's got to have a big break, a sharp break and tough, and I mean really tough on the lefties.
Yeah, I was interested to see that his average against lefty, the average against the lefties was in the 300s. I mean, that's not something you normally see.
1 ball, 1 strike. Mentioned that he leads the league in hitting and leads all major league left-handed batters with a .327 average. Quite a year for Scooter Gennett. That one goes Lions' way, and that can change completely change how you look at this at bat. 1-2 now.
Yeah, he's got multiple options now with pitches and locations and pitches to give. It's always the key is just getting ahead.
Got him. Strikeout for Lions. Carved him up. Good work by Tyler. And coming up for the Cardinals in the home half of the 6th, Jose Martinez, Marcell Ozuna, and Yadier Molina. Redbirds down by 2. Here in the bottom of the 6th. Needs something to get going against Matt Harvey, who has set down 10 in a row. Martinez 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts. Right now, Matt Harvey is the story of this game. Maybe turning around his season, and you never know, maybe turning around a career. Got nasty at the end with the Mets.
Yeah, he had a tough go-round at the end there. You know, like I said, he left New York. I think he was throwing the ball 90, 91. Didn't have much on it. Probably confidence was going down. Stuff definitely going down. Be really awesome to see a guy like this turn it around, come here, get his back on his feet again, and like you said, maybe end up being traded again and go in and help somebody out.
First 2 at bats, 14 pitches seen by Martinez. Jared Hughes throwing in the Reds bullpen. Pitch number 91 by Matt Harvey. I don't think you'd say it enough, Jimmy. There was a time that this guy was the guy to watch. I remember the Cardinals going into New York and facing back-to-back days, Harvey and DeGrom, and I mean, it was electric.
Couldn't be fun. Could not be fun at all to be a hitter there.
Give him credit, though. I mean, the velocity has returned to an extent here tonight. Mid to high 90s. As you talked about the run on both sides of the plate. He's been tough. 2-0 pitch. 3-0. The 3-0 pitch. And ball 4. Little bit low. And Harvey now is walked 2. Brings in the tying run to the plate, Marcell Ozuna. That's going to be it. So Harvey turns away from the catcher, Tucker, Barnhart, and Jim Riggleman. He's not happy about coming out, but he did his job tonight. The tying run coming to the plate. Come on. Come on. Able to catch his breath in that tremendous sprint in from the bullpen. Here's Marcell Ozuna with a base hit to left, also grounded out to short. Reds bullpen the last 5 games has had 2 blown saves and collectively an ERA over 10. We'll see if that continues tonight. Short lead at first by Martinez, and strike 1 on Ozuna. Those 2 blown saves were in Chicago. And the 0-1 pitch, pulled foul. Nothing in 2. Statcast powered by AWS, and you can see right here, this side of the field, you're just not going to get a lot of ground balls, or it looks like base hits, and that's why you see the shift being used here by the Reds, anticipating him to pull. Here's the 0-2 pitch. A little bit low, 1-2. If you go back and look at Marcell from a year ago, not only going the other way, but with power.
Yeah, I feel like he got into a little bit of a pull mode early on this year and really hasn't gotten out of it too much.
It's a fly ball into center. Billy Hamilton backs up to make the catch. And there's one away. Our BJC Healthcare difference maker, Yadier Molina, with 2 outs in this base hit to center. That brought in Paul DeYoung. Made it 2-1. Reds added a run later, and it's now 3-1. That's your BJC Healthcare difference maker. Hamilton and Winker awfully deep in center and right for Molina.
Sometimes you look up there on the board and you see the home runs and you see the highlights and you kind of play to that. Like I said, sometimes outfielders are afraid to get beat, so they back up, taking away the double when the majority of the balls fall in front of you. Tell you what, though, both the corner outfielders for the Reds, the way they set up, doesn't surprise me that they're playing deep.
And a strike on Molina, 1-2. Benji Molina there on the right, the Spanish broadcast. Polo Asensio on the left. Here's a 1-2 and a strikeout of Yachty. Cardinals collectively in their lineup, they've struck out 6 times tonight. First for Hughes, he's gotten the first 2. It brings in Jed Jerko. He's flied to right and also grounded out to second.
I remember playing with Benji when he was in the Angels organization, and he could catch and throw too. And he said, "Wait till you see my younger brother." About 15, 20 years later, the younger brother is now the older statesman on the All-Star team. Go figure.
Little did you know when he was talking about Yachty just how good he might be.
No kidding. Well, I'm telling you, they all could catch. All the 3 of the Molina brothers could catch and throw. To know that Yachty was going to come up and be this good, who would have known?
And 2 strikes on Jed Jerko. Climbing the charts, Yadier Molina. Games, hits, RBI, and home runs. What a career it's been. And continues to be. The 2-2 pitch. Tommy Pham on deck.
This would be a good chance right here. Start the runner. Nice base hit. Start some momentum.
Or just hit one out.
Yeah, get a couple runs right here.
He taps it foul. This crowd ready for something, anything to happen positive. 3-2 pitch to Jed Jerko. He'll take the walk. And it brings in Tommy Pham, and I think the same could be said for Tommy, looking for something positive to happen.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this going into this break, you like to have a good last couple days and kind of have a couple days off to rethink everything. And I think more than anything is the days off to let your body heal a little bit, especially for Tommy. Tommy goes 100 miles an hour all the time. It takes a toll on your body after a while.
It's the first Cardinal to reach second base since the first inning. And ball 1. Pham tonight grounded out to second. Also was called out on strikes back in the fourth. They are straight away for the Cardinals center fielder. The 1-0 pitch to Tommy. 1 ball, 1 strike. Two strikes on Pham. The 1-2 pitch. Pham grounds it left side, and he'll step on the bag. That's Suarez, and the threat is through. Cardinals strand a pair. We head to the 7th. Reds on top. It's 3-1. On Wednesday, August 1st, it's Hello Kitty Night. Purchase of a special theme ticket, fans receive a Cardinals-themed Hello Kitty bobblehead. And get those tickets at cardinals.com/theme. Tyler Lyons will face Joey Votto. And you can see the Cardinals going back to their pen. And the first pitch is taken for a ball. Monday pitch arsenal on Tyler Lyons. He was able to strike out Jeanette when he came in the ball game back in the 6th with 2 runners on. 3-1 our score. Inside corner, and it's 1-1. Sam Tuivailala getting loose. The Cardinals had 3 hits in the first inning, 1 in the second, and that has been it.
That is an awkward way to take a pitch.
2-1 pitch. And it's 3-1.
I don't know how that ball didn't hit him. Went around him.
I mean, you know, Jimmy, lefty, you try to stay in as long as you can.
I'll tell you what, it's hard some days.
3-1 pitch. And Votto serves it into left field. Ozuna near the sidewall and out of play. 3-2 on Votto. I mean, not only does he choke up, but he'll choke up in the beginning of the at bat, and then with 2 strikes, it's a good 3, 4, 5 inches.
Even more, yeah.
Foul back. Crowd tonight 45,891, the 12th sellout of the year. 45891. On a play. This will be the 8th pitch of the at bat coming up to Joey Votto. Sends a fly ball out to deep left. Ozuna back and makes the catch near the edge of the track.
See Joey Votto, all he's trying to do there with 2 strikes is just make contact, solid contact, and not much of a swing. You can see he almost drove the ball to the base of the wall. So, and you can see how just not trying to do too much, you still have enough power to get the ball into the gap and drive the ball. So I mean, that's his game plan. He doesn't want to strike out. He wants to take away your toughest pitch, and he's quick enough to still stay with the fastball.
There's Suarez, hit a double over the head of Martinez. That was in the 5th. Grounded back to the pitcher and struck out. With another lefty coming up, Winker on deck. Lyon stays in the game. Barnhart a switch hitter. And that's whacked out to left. Couple of hops and to the wall. And a 1-out double, the 2nd of the night for Suarez. Mentioned the trio of Jeanette, Votto, and Suarez all headed to the All-Star game. And the last time the Reds had 3 position players make it to the Midsummer Classic, they had 4 in Roland, Bruce, Phillips, and Votto.
Pretty good 4 right there.
Oh boy. Here's Jesse Winker. He's been on base 3 times, double, single, and an intentional walk back in the 5th. Winker, the splits this year, 204 against the lefties. And Barnhart, the switch hitter, he's on deck against right-handed pitching, hitting 233. The lefties 345. So get the feeling this may be it for Tyler Lyons, this matchup here with Winker. Pittsburgh a winner tonight, 7-3 over Milwaukee. So if the Cardinals can come back, they would be 5.5 out. Two and two. On to play. Amir Garrett, the lefty, throwing in the Reds bullpen. And something's going on out there in the bleachers in right center. Also, they're trying to start the wave here at the ballpark. The 2-2. Little fly ball out to left field. That'll drop in for a base hit. Run will score. And that makes it a 4-1 Cincinnati lead. Winker on base for the 4th time tonight. And he drives in his 40th of the year. And the Cardinals will make a double switch.
Just gets a fastball up in the zone right there. And that's a good piece of hitting. You got to give credit to credit where it's due right there. He fouled off a tough pitch. Got to a count where he could handle and got a fastball. Nice job putting it into left center field.
Sam Tuivailala coming into the ball game, and also Harrison Bader. The double switch. Center field takes over for Tommy Pham. Part of the double switch. Sam Tuivailala into the ballgame to pitch for the Cardinals. It's our Chevy call to the pen. Tuivailala will go in the spot occupied by Pham. That was 7th in the lineup, and Bader goes into the 9 spot. He'll be due up 2nd in the home half of the 7th for the Cardinals. 4-1 our score. And Tucker Barnhart that's way inside. Here's a 1-0 pitch. Out of play. One ball and one strike. Big gap in right center. The pitch taken high, 2-1. Reminder that the start time tomorrow, 3:10 with our first pitch, 2:30 the pregame show. Sunday, if you have a ticket, 1:15, and if not, 12:30 here on Fox Sports Midwest. Bet he throws over.
You bet? What do you want to bet?
Well, you get those signs, and after you see him for about the 1,000th time, get a pretty good idea what he's going to do.
So 1 is a fastball. 2 is a curveball. You would go with the wiggle, probably going to be the changeup.
Got him way out in front.
Or a cutter. You know what it is, though? Each pitcher has his own set of signs that.
That's right.
Some guys don't throw a changeup, so they use a wiggle as maybe a cutter or something different.
I was thinking about this. Your home run that you hit Game 6, 2004, on a pitch that was up and in.
You were thinking about this?
I was, because when you were talking about guessing, it being a guess hitter, 2-2 pitch. Were you guessing that pitch? I mean, you could have been guessing that location.
Guessing fastball,
but not that location.
Fastball. No, but I mean, you saw me hit. There wasn't a whole lot of pitches up in the zone that I didn't like.
That's true. But that's odd, though, from a left-handed batter to get on top of that ball and be able to drive it out like you did.
It's just lucky.
Oh, I don't think so. 3-2 pitch, runner goes, and it's ball 4. Injury or illness should never interrupt childhood. St. Louis Children's Hospital, guardians of childhood. Fourth walk the Reds have received tonight. First handed out by Tuivailala. And the batter is Duvall. 0 for 3. Grounded out, flied out, and struck out. Tuivailala would love the double play right here. Duvall, one of those odd stats. He's driven in 57, despite the fact that he's had a down year average-wise. But with the 57 that he's driven in, 31 of them have come in the 7th inning or later, and that's most in baseball.
Yeah, I mean, watching him hit, something's wrong. But he's still, like you said, driving in runs and doing things late in the game. It just is really unusual to see him hitting below 200.
Hit down the right field line, but foul.
He's a pretty good player.
Traded for Mike Leake, who's in the San Francisco system, and now Mike Leake with Seattle. Mariners have had a very good first half. That pitch taken high. Seattle 58-36. 3 games back of Houston. Oakland in their race. 53-41. They've caught fire. A ball and 2 strikes on Duvall. And a grounder foul. Just watching Marco Gonzalez pitch. It's been okay. Gonzalez with 10 wins. Mike Leake with 8. It's a ball and 2 strikes. Two and 2. Cardinals have Wong, Bader, Carpenter coming up. And they need some offense. Have not had a base hit since back in the 2nd inning. A total of 4 tonight. Just joined us, Matt Harvey pitched very well, 5+, 1 run on 4 hits, struck out 5, walked 2. Jared Hughes, the scoreless 6th inning, still the pitcher of record. And the 2-2 pitch missed on the outside corner. I'll give the home plate umpire credit. He has not called that a strike all night.
Yeah, and he's just missing too with everything. He's just missing a little bit up, a little bit in, a little bit out. It's either doing a good job of living on the corners or just not being able to dial it in enough.
And the 3-2 instead of check on the runners.
Tell you what, you come out of that bullpen, you don't have time to not find your mechanics for a hitter or two. You got to be dead on ready to go coming out of the bullpen with guys on base. It's just not a chance for you to try and figure it out after a hitter or two.
Out of play. Say it all the time. When you don't hit, it feels flat. That's the way it's felt tonight.
Yeah, you're right about that. Definitely, without offense, the team definitely feels like it's flat. Seems flat. The games are slower.
Feels
not a whole
like
lot of excitement.
A 10-run deficit. It's only 3. And the 3-2 pitch. Pulled off the glove of Jerko. A run will score. This will make it 5-1. And Duvall on his way to second base. So that'll be a double for Duvall. Picks up an RBI, his 58th of the year.
See him out at second base praying, thanking the Lord for giving him a hit. When you're hitting under 200, you got to get him when you can.
And Mike Maddox out to visit. Joey Malala has come in, allowed a walk, and also the double. This will be Dilson Herrera, the pinch hitter. The visit from Mike, and now Herrera. Runners at second and third. I'm not sure if Schebler was announced, but if so, he's been burned, and now you get Herrera. Infield is drawn in. And strike one. And we're told that Schebler was not announced, so pulled back, and Herrera the pinch hitter. The 0-1 pitch by Tui Vavala. Yanked foul and out of play, 0-2. Nice play made by a fan down the left field line. Infield in. Cardinals need that strikeout or a ground ball. The 0-2 pitch. Just off the plate. Ouch. Already has that protective gear on the left leg, the front leg. I think this one may have got him on the right leg. Let's take a look. Sure did.
That's
hard to do.
That's hard to do. That means that ball is inside and you are trying to get to it.
And the 1-2 pitch by Tuivailala struck him out. No, he just got a piece. That one caught a piece of Molina. And the 1-2 pitch now. Tuivailala hit down the left field line, but foul. Tuivailala up to 20 pitches. Martinez went 5 innings. Gregerson 2/3 of an inning. Lyons 2/3, and now Tuivailala. Still only 1 out. 8 of the 20 pitches have been foul balls. See if he can't put them away. Two and two. Pitch number 38 of the inning for the Cardinals. Fouled back.
See if he can't put him away with a slider right here. Looks like he's really trying to get after that fastball. You can see he's out in front of a few, fouling some back. Got a pitch left. If you don't make your pitch here, you go to 3 and 2. It's fine.
And the 2-2 popped up. Carpenter over near the dugout, leans in and out of room. And it stays 2 and 2. So runners at second and third. Good battle here with Herrera and Tuivailala. And the 10th pitch of this at bat coming up. Amir Garrett had been throwing in that Reds bullpen, and he has a seat now. He's plenty hot. The 2-2 pitch. 3 and 2. This crowd's starting to get a little bit restless here at the ballpark. The 3-2 pitch. In the air out to deep left center. Herrera wins the battle with a 3-run homer. The 11th pitch of the at bat, and a 3-run homer for Herrera. This is our Nissan drive of the game. The 11th pitch, and Herrera launched it into the seats.
You said it. Good battle won by the hitter. There's a lot of fastballs up there. He bought himself just one more.
There's Billy Hamilton. It's now 8-1. Tui's just not been able to put hitters away.
Well, it's that slider that he had. He had a chance to throw it. He just didn't throw a good one. You throw a fastball slider, you got to have that slider working. You got to be able to get it down and get it moving. He threw one, and it hung up there. He fouled it back, and thinking, like, when you see that, sometimes you're afraid to go back to it. You don't want to hang it again. Hitter knows that too, and is not worried about it anymore. So now you zero in on the fastball.
420 feet, the distance of the home run. And the 4th pinch hit homer for the Reds this year. It's now 8-1 Cincinnati.
That's the slider right there you're looking for. It's Sometimes guys have trouble throwing the same slider to a righty as they do a lefty. They don't have anything to aim for.
Ground ball. Carpenter to Ivamala to the bag and the out. Closes the book on Lions, who gave up a couple of runs in 2/3 of an inning. Brett Cecil getting loose in the Cardinal pen. A 5-run top of the 7th now for Cincinnati. Top of the lineup, and Peraza. He doubled into the left field corner. Also singled and scored on a base hit into right. Grounded back to the pitcher and grounded out to short. And a base hit into center. 3-hit night for Peraza. 9th man to come to the dish here in the top of the 7th. Scooter Gennett. And Mike Matheny will go to his bullpen again. It'll be the 5th pitcher used by St. Louis tonight. Brett Cecil will come on to face Scooter Gennett, who's already homered this evening. It's all Reds here in Game 1. Cecil laid to face Scooter Gennett, who is homered tonight. Was hit by a pitch back in inning number 5 and has struck out twice. The Chevy call to the pen. Martinez, Gregerson, Lyons, Tuivailala, and now Brett Cecil. Talked about it at the top of our broadcast, is that this team can hit, and they've shown that tonight. 12 hits, 8 runs.
They just hang around. They just have good at bats, and foul tough pitches off, and stay out there and keep going, and then eventually you're going to win those battles. It's tough on the pitcher.
And the 0-1 pitch by Cecil. This will be the 50th pitch of this inning alone. Inning began with Tyler Lyons, then Tuivailala, now Cecil. 1 ball, 1 strike to Gennett. 1-2. Reds have 999 wins since 1900 against St. Louis. But they've dropped 9 of 10 this year, but that looks like it may change tonight. And the 1-2. Lined into the glove of Wong in a nice play. Big inning for Cincinnati. 8-1 our score. For the Reds, his 44th appearance. ERA under 4, and he's found a home in that bullpen for the Cincinnati Reds. We saw him make a debut as a starter against the Cardinals and was absolutely phenomenal that night. He thought, well, maybe the Reds have something in him, but they like him in the bullpen. This is the Gateway Honda home run inning. Cardinals hit a home run. The Gateway Honda dealers will donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Missouri. Scott Schebler takes over in right field. And he'll be in the 5th position in the lineup for the Reds. Garrett in the 8th spot. Third pitcher used tonight by Jim Riggleman. It'll be Wong, Bader, part of the double switch, and Carpenter. Colton Wong tonight 0 for 2. Twice he is grounded out to first. Cubs have jumped out to a 2-1 lead over San Diego. That's in the bottom of the 2nd. Cardinals with just 4 hits. At one point, Matt Harvey set down 10 straight. And another ground ball to Joey Votto. 3 times off the bat of Wong, and he's 0 for 3. Here's Harrison Bader, took over in center.
It's frustrating right there. You can see Colton searching for things, and when you hit 3 balls in the same spot during the course of the game, you go back in the dugout and you're trying to figure out what in the heck is going on. How's that even possible?
And Bader chops it left side. Loved by Suarez. Wow. And out. Little late hesitation. The call by Chris Guccione as Bader was flying down that first base line. No challenge as Mike Schilt. And with that, 2 quick outs, and it's Carpenter. 0 for 2 with a walk. And 51 pitches in the top of this inning, and now 4 to get 2 outs here in the bottom half. And Carpenter lifts a high fly ball into center. Hamilton backing up at the wall. Oh, he caught it! A remarkable catch by Billy Hamilton in center field. One of the great plays we've seen in 2018. Holy smokes, what a play! Cincinnati Reds. Appropriate that my partner tonight, Mr. Edmonds, can appreciate this.
Pretty good play right here. Looked like he just mistimed it, and then wow, what a recovery and what an athlete. I was watching that live. I thought, oh, he's got no chance of getting to this ball.
I remember talking to you about your catch in Cincinnati, and you mentioned the wall and how you can dive your spikes into the wall to get a little bit more lift on the jump.
Yeah, I wore plastic spikes one time because my feet were hurting, and I had a chance to make a play like that, and I slipped. And I said, never again. My feet are going to have to hurt. I'll never give up defense for comfort, ever. And yeah, you stick your feet in there, and it just, there's a lot of foam, and then that kind of like that leathery rubber, and it just sticks and gives you another couple of feet of elevation.
Here's a ground ball. Carpenter flips to Cecil for the out. So the cleats going into that padded wall, allowing Hamilton to elevate even higher than what he did. And, you know, that's what we're talking about right there. Watch the cleats dig in again.
You see the elevation after the foot hits. See how he loses his balance, because it's weird as you push off, and yet then you have nothing to hold on to. So you're pushing off in midair. And then usually the reason why you come down kind of awkward.
It's an incredible play.
Yeah, nothing to it. That's a heck of a play. You're right.
Here's Suarez with a pair of doubles tonight, and he's 2 for 4. And a grounder that's pulled foul. He has been a finalist multiple times for the Gold Glove. But many times his catches are the ones that other players just can't get to because of his speed. But that one, that's timing, athleticism, the read. Amazing. And we were talking during the break. did he lose it initially because he squared back up to the ball? Normally, you know, in his case, the right shoulder be going towards the wall.
It's almost like he turned the wrong way and then looked up and realized, uh-oh, got to go a little further. And then he made the redirect, and he made a good one.
Suarez with his third double of the night. Cardinals can't get him out, and that's hit number 13 here on Friday the 13th. So take a look here. It didn't look all that comfortable, but obviously one of the great plays this year.
He spun himself around. And what a play. What a great reaction.
Would have been Carpenter's 18th home run.
Just lost another friend. Billy Hamilton.
And that's hit out to right. Drops in for a hit. Run will score to make it 9-1. And Scott Schebler with his first hit of the night in his first plate appearance.
Tell you what, these Cincinnati Reds are not messing around at the plate.
Could you imagine if this team could get some starting pitching, where they'd be? There's Tucker Barnhart. 0 for 3 with a walk and a run scored. And a ground ball sharply hit to third. Out there, the turn, and a double play. A double and a single, and it adds to the lead for Cincinnati. St. Louis Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Budweiser. Wherever legendary MLB moments happen, Budweiser will be there. By Ford, going further so you can. And by Missouri Baptist Medical Center. Doctors call it world-class medicine. You'll call it MoBap. It's 9-1 as we move to the bottom of the 8th in favor of Cincinnati. Michael Lorenzen, the new pitcher for the Reds. He's really turned into a two-way player for Cincinnati. He can hit and hits with power, but on the mound he's had 19 appearances and a 2.45 ERA. Paul DeYoung, Jose Martinez, and Marcell Ozuna for the Cardinals. Fastball and a strike. And a ground ball up the middle. Barraza to his left, and there's one away. Tuesday, July 31st, 20,000 fans ages 16 and older take home July's T-shirt of the month. That design is extra special as it pays tribute to Cardinals Hall of Famer and fan favorite Red Schoendienst. Great tickets remain. Cardinals.com/promotions. Lorenzen, by the way, is a career .258 hitter with 5 home runs. So a dual threat. Martinez with a walk tonight and also a pair of strikeouts. Take a look at where Jimmy, his front foot is. It's almost outside the box, and I don't remember him standing as far away from the plate as he has been here, I'd say last handful of games.
Backed off the plate a little bit. Sometimes when you get pitched in, instead of trying to do too much with that inside pitch, you might back off a little bit just to buy yourself some more room. Hopefully the teams don't notice it. Maybe you do it after a team leaves town, start a new series. You're right, he does look like he has moved away from the plate a little bit. Sometimes as a hitter you get lost in the box. You go from city to city, long road trip, 3 different stadiums, have an off day, you come home, just don't feel as comfortable in the box, and next thing you know you look down and you see a video and you think to yourself, what am I doing there? Don't even realize it.
And the 2-2. Grounded to short. Barraza out number 2. So a pair of groundouts to short. The batter will be Marcell Ozuna. The Cardinals tonight with 4 hits. The last coming is an infield hit. But Carlos Martinez, the pitcher, back in the 2nd inning, and a ball that Jeanette ranged to his left. Cardinals had 3 hits in the first, 1 in the second, and that has been it tonight. Ozuna backs away from ball 1. The Reds, though, on the flip side with 9 extra base hits and a season high 7 doubles.
Been swinging the bat tonight.
Lined out to left, and the catch is made. Cardinals go in order. Sends us to the 9th. The Cardinals, Martinez started the game with 5 innings. We've seen Gregerson, Lyons, Tuivalalov, Cecil, and now Greg Holland in our Chevy call to the pen. 9-1 Cardinals have been out hit 14-4 in the game. And if they cannot come back, the Cardinals would be at 500 at home. And that's got to change. There's no other way to put it. You got to win at home.
Yeah, they struggled with that. It was it last year and just couldn't overcome it. It's one of those things you start to take for granted. But you're right. You got to play better at home. That's the one thing you got to do to be a good team.
Adam Duvall at the plate. Well, last inning, Francisco Pena took over behind the plate. Changes for the Cardinals defensively. At third base, Greg Garcia. Jed Jerko to first base. Beta, remember, was part of a double switch. He's in center. Jairo Munoz in left field. 2-0 the count on Duvall. He had a real key hit in this game. I mean, you say, well, it's 9-1, but at the time, a tight game. He picked a double up off the glove of Jed Jerko. That drove in a run back in the 7th, and that was all part of a 5-run 7th. Going into that inning, it was a 3-1 game. 2 balls and 1 strike on Adam Duvall. 3-1. It's been one of the issues at times for Holland this year, getting pitch 1 in there for a strike, pitching ahead in the count.
So that's a huge key, especially coming out of the bullpen. Getting ahead so you can use your weapons.
Out to left, and Munoz makes the play.
When you think about it too, it's more than just getting ahead and being aggressive. It's allowing you to throw certain pitches and use certain weapons that you really can't use when you're behind in the count, because you just can't afford to keep throwing borderline pitches when you're behind in the count, obviously. So it really does a lot of things by getting ahead.
And a ball inside to Michael Lorenzen. And the 1-0 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. Lorenzen played at a powerhouse in college, Cal State Fullerton, and was a two-way player there. Makes his living, though, on the mound.
Powerhouse. It's my backyard right there.
Pretty darn good.
Yep. It's amazing what they put together over the last 20 years or longer.
Lines it to Juan. And that's out number 2.
But Cal State Fullerton is a pretty good school. You talk about all of the good athletes in all of Southern California that really don't get into the big time Division I schools, all go to Cal State Fullerton.
Sure.
They have the pick of the litter for baseball players at that school.
Here's Billy Hamilton with one of the top plays of the year when he robbed Matt Carpenter, and it's a second time, by the way, he's done that to Matt in his career. Here's the 0-1 pitch. You did it multiple times to Jason LaRue, and now Hamilton to Carpenter. And the next to Billy Hamilton. In the dirt. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And a ground ball to Colton Wong. Good work by Holland. A 1-2-3 top of the 9th. For Cincinnati, our Chevy called to the pen. Francisco Pena will be the batter. Our Chevy called to the pen. He's 1-2, ERA over 6. What has been a very disappointing start to the weekend. 9-1 Reds. And on the first pitch, it's popped up. Joey Votto makes the catch. That's not Votto, that's Blandino with the catch. Well, flashback, and this is Carpenter at the plate. Mid-April of 2016. Billy Hamilton.
Now that's timing it right there.
And our Budweiser play of the game. Hamilton again with Carpenter at the plate. Wow. What a play.
You know what I used to tell the guys? You're just going to have to hit it farther.
That's all there is to it. Get in the weight room, huh?
I would sit around in the batting practice when we were on the road. Guys would hit the ball out of the, out of the ballpark, and I'd sit, if I sat close enough to the cage and I knew some of the guys, I would say, you're going to have to hit it farther than that if you want to get a home run out of it. They would just look at me like, you're crazy. Better hit it farther than that or I'm going to catch it.
Here's a 1-1 to Jed Jerko. Now 1-2. When you think of Billy Hamilton, you're just so intrigued by the speed, the raw speed that he possesses. Very good defensive player. Hit on a hop to second. If you could ever put it together consistently at the plate, then you're really talking.
When I played, I always thought that the speed actually hampered some of the hitters, as far as, because you take guys that, for example, him, a little bit smaller, a little skinny, probably not a lot of power, and so he's been taught on the way up, hey, you need to hit the ball on the ground, hey, you need to do this, hey, you need to do that, instead of letting his athletic ability just carry him to a certain point and then teaching him a little bit how to hit a little bit better. It's always about do this or do that. And I always thought maybe sometimes that hurts the guys with speed, because then you're forcing them to hit a certain way. I always wanted to talk to a lot of the guys that could run to see if they were told certain things at certain ages.
And the 1-0 to Garcia. 2 balls and no strikes.
When I was in the minor leagues, I remember them telling a couple guys, basically like the movie Major League, where if you hit the ball in the air, do push-ups. You know, right. It's like, don't hit the ball in the air, hit it on the ground.
Willie Mays Hayes.
Yeah, Willie Mays Hayes.
Speed does not slump, and that's how you get out of a slump too. 2 of the fastest players, Bader and Hamilton, and that guy can run too, Willie McGee. The 2-2 pitch to Garcia inside. Start time tomorrow, 3:10 with the first pitch, and 2:30 with the pregame show.
Danny, 9-1, bottom of the 9th, 2 outs. Another good at bat by Garcia.
And the 3-2, got a piece of it. His playing time has really been limited here recently. Like that one got him off the right knee. Yep. Can only protect so much. Another 3-2 pitch to Garcia. Little chopper hit up the middle. This should do it. Peraza to his left. Blandino at the bag. 9-1 the final. Cincinnati comes in. A big 7th inning and a big play from Billy Hamilton. Talk about these bats. They can hit. They showed it here in game 1. Post-game show comes your way next.